So could you tell us a little bit about why you think it's good for constituents to lobby MPs on issues that they care about? What is the value of lobbying?
Well, an MP's job, there's no job description for MPs, which is why they can, you have good ones, bad ones, they can do all kinds of things. But if there was a job description, it would simply say that they exist to represent their constituents' interests in Parliament. And there's no way they can do that unless they hear from their constituents. You can't possibly know what it is people expect of you unless you are lobbied. MPs exist to be lobbied. Unfortunately, more often than not, the lobbying comes from the big businesses, but really they exist to be lobbied by their constituents. So if you're not lobbying your MP, I would say you're missing a trick, whatever your issue.
And could you give some tips for someone who's keen to write to their MP? How can this be done most effectively?
Well, there's an upsurge in the number of people who write to their MPs as part of a kind of email campaign process. So you can get 200-300 letters from people in your constituency on a particular issue. But if they're all identical, it kind of allows the MP to go into autopilot. They answer one and effectively they've answered them all. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, they should do it, because it tells MPs what level of feeling there is on that particular issue. But a more personalised letter really counts. And by far the best thing you can do is to go see your MP. Every MP is available to be seen in a surgery or in a meeting. The very best thing you can do is get a group of your like-minded friends and go and lobby your MP in person. Because if 4 people come to my office, or 10 people come to my office, that is worth hundreds of emails. I will listen, I will engage, I won't necessarily agree, but I will have that discussion. And it leaves a lasting imprint. So going to see your MP is by far the best thing you can do.
Leads nicely onto this one. Could you give some tips for someone who's keen to meet their MP face-to-face, and how can that be done most effectively?
Well, theoretically, if you write to your MP or call their office, they should be willing to organise a time for you to see them. There are times when I'm written to about a particular issue, and I know I can deal with it very quickly there and then, and there's no need for a meeting. But I don't think there's ever been a time where someone has wanted to meet me and I haven't met them. I don't think so. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of these meetings. But the other alternative, rather than just going yourself to see your MP, is to encourage them, if it's a really big issue, and climate change is the biggest issue, actually to organise public meetings. If you can get 50, 60, 100 people, whatever, all the various local organisations and their membership, if you can put on a public meeting, they will come. And it might be that they're going to do more listening than talking. Sometimes that's not a bad thing for an MP, but it will also leave a lasting impression. Public meetings really, even in the internet age, there's no substitute for the face-to-face.
And are there things that constituents should avoid when endeavouring to lobby their MP? So what actions or activities might make an MP less likely to listen?
Well, I think the tone is really important, because you take climate change, there are plenty of people who are being contrarian for the worst possible reasons, paid by the oil sector, or mouthpieces for fossil fuel industry generally. There are plenty of examples of that, and I've come across many of those people. But there are also a lot of people who are genuinely baffled by the science. And all of us, clearly, all of us, including your campaign, would like to believe that climate change isn't actually happening. It's not a big step. So I would say your starting point should not be one of hostility or aggression. There are plenty of honest people who dispute the science. So engage, have a discussion, bring people along who can really put the science into a language which we can all understand. Start from a position of generosity, not from hostility, I would say. But every now and again you need to hold your MP to account. If they break a promise, if they fail to turn up, or they refuse to come and see you or allow you to go and see them, or if they tell you one thing and then vote in a way which suggests that they've forgotten what they promised you they do, then you can really bash them over the head. But I would say that's that's kind of the option, the last resort, not first resort. I'm not being very clear, but I hope you understand.
No, that's great, thank you. And then just finally, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Just put pressure. A lot of people today say that they don't feel part of the political process, that it's incredibly remote, that we have politicians who don't listen to us, etc. Well, we all own politics. Every one of us can have a piece of the action if we choose. Politics is there for us to get involved, and all those people who have concerns about issues, whatever those issues are, grab politics by the scruff of the neck, make it work for you. Hold your MP to account, hold your local councillors to account. Don't just walk away from it, because if you walk away from it, it's guaranteed to move in the wrong direction. So keep politicians on their toes. It's not easy, and our system is not ideal. In fact, I think it's profoundly flawed, but it is still our political system, and it's for everyone to get involved.
That's great, thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Yep.